to my channel. I'm just sitting here on this frosty Thursday afternoon, and I'm just looking for a little bit of inspiration to make a video for you, and I think I've come up with a little bit inspired by that background that I've got. So I think I'm going to take this DAC palette. Actually, that's what I might do. I might go ahead and do a full face of DAC and just keep it quite neutral and soft glam, and I might go ahead and use this Mauve Me palette. There's a bit of shimmer in there, but I might concentrate on those matte colours just for a little bit of soft glam. So let's jump into it. All right, up first, I might go ahead and do my base first actually today, and because I'm going to do some really soft eyeshadow, so I don't need to worry about fallout or ensuring that it doesn't fall on my skin. So I think I might go ahead and do my face first. So I'm just going to grab my primer. I don't have any of my DAC primer left, so DAC does make a primer though. It is like a gel based consistency, and it's brilliant for filling in those fine lines, pores and so forth, and it's brilliant because I've got really quite big pores on my skin. Yeah, so I really enjoy it for my skin. It's really soft and silky, and it gives a really perfect base for that foundation to go down on. Today I'm just going to be using my Rimmel Stay Matte Primer. It's just something that I found in my drawer, so I'll be using that one, but all the other times I would be using my DAC primer. So I'm just going to massage that into the skin. I like this one too because it dries as like a powder as well, and I particularly concentrated on my T-zone. I'm quite an oily T-zone person, even with or without makeup. I'm quite oily. I have looked into treatments and things like that to get rid of it, but my skin specialist turns around and tells me that the oilier and bigger pored the skin, the least likely I am to wrinkle. So we might stay with the oily skin for a while. Okay, so I just concentrate that on my T-zone, just let it absorb in a little bit, and I am going to go ahead, by the way, I say a lot, so if you're, sorry, there's not much I can do, I say it a lot. I'm going to go in with my Studio Blend Coverage Foundation. It's a DAC foundation. It is super full coverage, so I'll do half of my face and I'll just show you. I have gotten a tiny shade tanner than my current face because my body's still a little bit tan from the weekend. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pop some pumps of that just on the back of my hand. I always find the back of my hand really easy to work with when applying foundation of this kind anyway. It's just super duper easy, and I'm not going to end up putting all of it on my face, as in if I put it on my hand and then go in and apply it to my face, I'm not going to end up with too much on my face, because I can gauge between how much is going to end up on there, as opposed to just going straight from the tube onto your face and then dotting it everywhere and realizing you have too much. I do have hair, but it's tied up out the back. It's annoying me at the moment, so just pull it out of the way while I do my foundation. So I'm just going to dabble it in with my DAC beauty sponge, and I'll just do this side. And with a beauty sponge, you want it to be nice and damp, so not wringing wet, not soaking wet, not dry. You do need to run it under the tap a couple of times and squeeze out that excess water, because then that's what creates that damp sponge, and it just it's so soft and gentle on your skin. Like, it's actually really gorgeous to push your foundation in. You can definitely use it for primers and things like that as well. I use my sponge for BB cream as well, and that's the thing too, the tools of the trade are completely up to you. If you prefer to use a brush and only a brush, go ahead and only use a brush. There's no, as you get to know and go through my channel and start learning things about the way I do makeup, is that there's no rules, there's no right or wrong, and if somebody tries to tell you that there is, don't listen to them. There's too many rules and regulations on everything else. Just go ahead and you do you. So whatever you like using, use that. So keep going with my sponge. I'm just going to apply that just until all my discoloration's gone. and do it all in the creases around my chin, up on my nose. When I'm in studio doing clients as well, I do prefer to use a brush. It just helps me get around all those little areas around the nose and up to the hairline and so forth a lot easier than a sponge. With a sponge, I can push hard, and I know, and once I get around my nose, I know how to move my face so that my nose stretches out and so forth. But in studio, it's a lot different. It's easier to use a brush with clients. So that's it there. So what I'm going to do is go right up to my hairline. Us blondies have to be careful. The only point I drag a beauty blender or a beauty sponge is when I am dragging it down my neck. I don't mind dragging it down my neck. I don't want super maximum coverage going down my neck. I just want to ensure that the coverage is similar, it's gradient, and it blends out as we're going. So I'm just going to keep going. And I'll just go ahead and complete the rest of my face. I'm just going ahead and I'm actually applying just a tiny little bit more. I do have some left over on my hand, and this foundation is really brilliant. It doesn't cake on, and also it dries relatively quickly. Not super quickly that you can't work it in or you don't have enough time to move it. It just dries fairly quickly, so you do need to move a little bit faster than normal, but that's a really great thing, and it's really great for us oily skin type people because we know that it's going to work. It's drying quicker, it's not staying liquidy, and it's getting right in there and settling in lovely. So I am going to go over with just a tiny little bit. I've got a tiny little bit left on my hand, so I might as well just go ahead and apply that. I have avoided my eye area. I'm going to save that for concealer. It's up to you. You can run over with your sponge over your eyes, or your brush, whichever you're using to put your foundation on, and just run over those with your foundation. That's totally fine. I prefer to just leave that area free and save that just for my concealer, because as you'll see in a moment, I'll conceal, and I do tend to leave my eyelids and under eyes and everything like that for my concealer. So I'm pretty happy with that coverage. I love it. I'll just show you up a little bit closer. It is super duper full coverage, so there is not much coming through other than one super enlarged pore that I have. But yeah, any discoloration, freckles, any blemishes that I might have are definitely not coming through. And yeah, so this is definitely my go-to foundation, and even in regards to not just because DAC is my own brand, but I love this foundation. I really do. It's $36 for a tube, so for a 30ml tube it's $36. So I don't know, let's just say, I don't know, I don't even know how much I used to know how many uses I'm going to get out of it, but a very long time. I reckon I did a sample when they first come out, and gave samples to a whole heap of people to see what they thought of it, and I reckon I got like, oh goodness, 100 samples out of it. So that's a long time. But yeah, it's super full coverage, so you can go light, you can go super dark, or like super full coverage. Yeah, apply as much or as little as you like. It's completely up to you. Okay, for concealer, DAC is working on a concealer at the moment. That's enough showing you. I'm not 100% sure on this formula, so we are going to wait and see, and I'm just going to sample it and try it just a few more times before I let you guys know exactly what I think. Yeah, so I'm just going to pop some on the back of my hand, and for purposes today, I'm going to be using a concealer brush just so I can apply it. I've popped it on the back of my hand there, and I'm just going to apply that under my eyes. Now the other thing too is there's so many different ways to conceal. So I often see people or hear stories, you don't need to use that much concealer. Like I said before, if you want to use that much concealer or you don't want to use that much concealer, do yourself. This is how I do it. and I'm happy with the way that I do it. So I'll just stick to this way, but I like to conceal underneath here. When you're using like sticks and things like that, they're a lot easier. You can just apply them straight to the skin. So, but this one's actually in like a little pump bottle kind of thing. So yeah, so I need to use a brush on it, which is fine because then it applies it directly where I want it to go. Trick with concealer, use a shade or two lighter than your actual foundation or your natural skin tone. It just really helps highlight those areas, and you'll definitely be able to see once I get that blended in just how well it highlights those areas. I will go ahead and conceal the top of my eyelids, but I'll show you a little tiny trick because I don't need too much concealing or too much product. It's a really simple little trick that I do. I am going to pick up my little tiny mini beauty sponge from DAC, so that one's wet as well, and I just like it, even using it on myself, whereas it's so big and bulky, the larger one, so you can see the two size differences there. I just prefer the small one to go up around my eyes. I can get into those creases a lot easier. Yes, I got creases. And across the tops of my eyelids and things like that. And also too, it just helps it set it a little bit more. I'm not picking up way too much powder and things like that as well. So I do have my powder ready. Now this is a DAC powder. This is actually a RCMA powder, and I've just popped it into a sifting container that I have. I cleaned it out and just popped it in here. The RCMA just doesn't come in a decent enough container. It comes in like a tube thing for loose powder. It's a brilliant product, so I guess you can take the good with the bad. I'm going to take my sponge, just damp, same deal, and I'm just going to do exactly what I've done to the rest of my face. I'm just going to blend that in, and by blending, same deal, I'm pushing it into my skin. I'm not dragging. I'm going up, around, under my eyes, bridge of my nose, center of my forehead where I've placed that. And the thing is too, with this foundation and concealer combination, they work brilliantly together, and that's something that I will recommend as well. Sometimes products don't work for everybody, and that's totally fine. When I when I add products to my kit that I work with clients, I do a lot of research in not so much just the product itself, but I do a lot of research in how well it's going to work with the other products that I have. So for instance, I test and trialed a new like eye primer concealer combination, and it was crap. It was so bad because it didn't work with the shadows that I had. Every time I hit it, it would just slide on the eyelid. It was only decent for like super dry eyelids, so I couldn't use it. And so I did a lot of research in that before I put it on clients. So I do a lot of groundwork and a lot of behind the scenes work when adding products to my kit, and what better skin than to try it on my oily skin. So but yeah, that's just a little tip. So I know that these two work really great together. With my eyelids, like I was saying, I'm just going to just lightly dab over my eyelids just to use whatever product is left over on my sponge. I'm not picking up any extra. If I was to do my eyes first and create like a really intense eyeshadow look, I would definitely use extra concealer, and I would do them very differently. So this is just something that I do when I just do my full face all over and do my foundation first. So I'm just gonna finish blending out that concealer all over my eyelids. I'm just gonna take that translucent powder that I had before, just dabbing it in there so that my beauty sponge has picked up that excess. And I'm just going to press it in. I'm not going to bake. I'm essentially just going to set it really easily with that powder. Baking is such as leaving the powder on there and applying excess amounts. I don't need to do that today. I'm just applying a small amount just to get it in. Set over my eyelids. One thing I love about this concealer and foundation combination is that for oily skin tones like myself, it's actually a really nice, not super wet product. They're actually like a nice dry product, which is really good for people like me. So alright, so the rest of my face I'm just going to set down. I didn't grab it out. I'm just going to set that down with my DAC pressed powder. This is one of the older ones that we started out with, so it's a little bit different, and it's in some different packaging, so that's why we've changed it up. The packaging on the newer ones is a lot better, but that's what happens when you produce your own brands and so forth. As time goes on, things get better, you see how things work, and that's the story of products. So I'm going to pick up my DAC powder brush and some of my product. Now how I do that is I very lightly just dab, basically stipple in it is called, stipple into there, and I just basically push that product into the rest of my face. Because of this amazing foundation, I don't need too much powder. Like I keep saying, I'm oily, so I always take a powder with me wherever I go because I do get shine, but when I'm wearing this foundation, not as much as other foundations. This one's really great for oily skin, so brilliant. Okay, that is all done. I don't mind dragging it down my neck too. There's just a little tip. On my face, I don't want to drag it too much because I've got so much coverage on my face that I don't want to sort of move it around or heat up any of the product that's on my face. So I know that I've got some light coverage down my neck, so I don't mind. I drag it around down there. Awesome. So my face is set. So one of the videos that I've done previously is a flawless base, and this is pretty much where it got up to. So now that I've got that down, I'm actually going to go ahead and finish my face. So I'm going to contour and highlight, do my blush and so forth, and then we'll go on to the eyeshadows. Now yeah, I constantly keep saying you do as much or as little as you want. Makeup is so creative, and makeup should come from the heart and the soul, and I truly believe that. So if you want to leave it right here and wear a white face exactly like I've got, go for it, and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. I, however, am going to contour, and I'm going to contour with DAC's brand new contour and highlighting palette. There is 6 shades in here. As you can see, there's 6 shades in here, and they are all matte colors. None of these are shimmery or glittery shades. They are all matte shades, which is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant for full coverage foundation like we have now, because we're actually going to start sculpting out the face. So I like that you've got your, and they're all cool tones as well. The peach is probably the only warm tone that's in there. There is a yellow and a neutral. So the peach would definitely be the only warm toned in here, which I think is brilliant, because all the time bronzers and contours always seem to be warm toned. And as I'm a cool toned person, you can see how white I am. Being a cool toned skin, sometimes I do throw out a bit of shade of pink, but I'm usually cool toned. So cool toned being yellow, I'll explain that in depth later. So what I'm going to do to very start with, I'm going to pick up just this light, very super light taupey shade just on the outside there. My favorite brush to do that with is the Sculpt and Blush brush from DAC. It is an amazing brush for contouring. This is just a part of the 15-piece brush set, so you can't actually purchase this one on its own, but that brush roll, no joke, you'll use every single brush in there, and we'll get to that at one point or another as well. So I'm just going to go ahead with this light bronzing shade that's on the end here. I'm really fair, so let's pick up some of that. I love this because it's so buildable as well. You don't put excess amounts of powder, and I cannot wait for clients to start using this, and particularly in lessons as well, because you can't put too much on to start with, which is brilliant. So I'm just very lightly going to start sculpting out my face. Now, I am somebody who does prefer to bronze first and then contour. I'm not sure why I've picked up that habit. I love bronzing first and then I go ahead and contour over the top. For me, it's just habit that I've got into. No, you don't have to do it that way. Oh God, you're gonna get sick of me saying do it whatever you like doing. So I like bronzing first. And I'm just going to go a tiny little bit up onto my temples just so it's not a straight big line across my face. I do like bringing it around where my blush is going to sit because I love blending my blush and a bronzer together. They just look really, really beautiful. I'm going to bronze up under my chin, get rid of that double chin that I've been blessed with. So I'm just going to run that down my neck just so it's nice and blended as well, and you don't have a big bronze line under your chin. I'll show you a bit more of that when we get up to that contouring shade. And I'm still in with that first shade because I'm still bronzing, and I love bronzing my forehead. Same deal, I've been blessed with a nice big forehead. Nice big smooth forehead at the moment. Actually, I'm very impressed. My skincare and skin routine is definitely winning. And see this, you can build it up. I absolutely love that you can build this up. Yeah, I would much rather be able to build it up as much as what I can and then come back from that instead of like applying it on there and you're like, oh, where do I go now? So I'm just going to try and bronze that chin up a little bit more, that double chin. Thank you. Not that I thank my mum for my double chin, but it's kind of hereditary. Even when I was at my skinniest and my sister's tiny, we still have the double chin. Cheers, mum. Runs in her family. So I just very lightly just like chiseling out that cheekbone just with this brush. It's so easy to use, and the fibers in this brush are just brilliant, nice and super sharp. And like I said, I don't need to worry about cleaning up underneath here. It's totally fine. Yeah, so I really like it. I am going to keep going, and I'm just going to grab a little bit more. I do like contouring up my forehead. Like I said, I was graced with a really nice size forehead, and I don't like bangs to slim down my forehead, so contouring it is. And I just love that like really nice sun look as well, like I've just been kissed by the sun. All right, get rid of that double chin again. Stuff underneath here. Yeah, you can see in this angle just how really beautiful that contouring and bronzing really is. It's really, really, really beautiful product. Okay, so I am going to finish that bit up there. The next part I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab like a tapered brush, and I'm just going to grab the highlighting powder from here. Now when I say highlighting powder, these are just matte highlighting powders, so they're not shimmer powders. They're not for the tops of the cheekbones or anywhere like that. They're not a shimmery one. They are purely just to highlight under the eyes and down the center of the face before you apply your shimmering highlight powders. So I'm just going to grab this yellow color in between here, which I think is probably a bit for me. Let's grab a tiny bit. I'm just going to put that up underneath my eye. Yeah, and see, I can tell instantly. Look at the brightness that comes from it. It is amazing. Oh my goodness. Just instant. It just helps bring my bronzer back down as well. So if I went a little bit higher, it just brings it back down as well. And the really good thing too with these really finely milled powders is I don't look over powdered. So up close and in real life, I'm definitely not over powdered. I'm actually quite matte, and a little bit of my natural oil is there. So it's actually really nice. I'm just going to put the highlighting powder in between here as well, and just a tiny little bit on my chin and down the center of my nose. Now, one of my pet hates with contouring is contouring my nose. I can't do it. I wish I could, because along with my double chin, my big forehead, I was blessed with a massive nose. That one is from Dad. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to do my eyebrows. Now, I have my eyebrows tattooed on. A lady in town did those, and they are absolutely phenomenal. I love my tattooed brows. But when I wear a full face of makeup, they tend to just go a tiny little bit. The shade tends to shade. Let me start again. The shade tends to change. So that's just because there's a little bit of powder that sits in them. I may have gone over with my beauty sponge a little bit too much. So then there is a tiny little bit of product in there. And then also too, compared to the flawlessness of my face, I just want to sharpen them up that tiny little bit. So in order to do that for a daytime glam look as well, I'm going to use my dark eyebrow powder palette. If I was going out, I would definitely use a pomade. So like when I mean going out, I mean like nighttime going out or full, super full glam, I would definitely use a pomade. But for this purpose, I'm just going to use my little powder trio. So in this little trio here, you have a wax-based product, you have a highlighting product, a highlighting powder, and then a brow powder. Now this shade's perfect for me. This shade is in number 2, so it's brilliant for me. It is a cool toned shade. I don't like warm toned brows. Some people need warm toned brows to match their hair color, but I'm more than happy with a cool toned. It suits my hair color perfectly. So basically what I'm going to do, it comes with a little angled brush, but I save that little angled brush for my wax. And I'm basically just going to pop the tiniest little bit of powder into my eyebrows. I am not going to fill them in ridiculously. Number 1, don't feel like it today. Number 2, I don't want over powdered brows. So I'm just going to pick up a tiny little bit on my angled spoolie brush. And I'm just going to go ahead and just sharpen up those lines. I do love a killer sharp brow. It's just something I've always really liked, whether it's on me or someone else. A really sharp brow is it. Sometimes on the super blonde girls it's not possible, but I over time have tinted my eyebrows to the point now that they are darker than my natural hair color or my blonde hair color, but I am a-okay with it. I love it. And I love the shade of my brows. My brow lady Danielle does an amazing job, and my tattooing lady Ebony does a fantastic job as well. So just gonna fill both of these in. Benefit of using a powder, it's so easy. If you make a mistake, you just use the spoolie end to brush it off. Done. Daytime where the edges are not too harsh, and that is what I am after. So I'm just going to sharpen up that front bit. Just going to soften off this line a tiny little bit. I always encourage clients to exfoliate their eyebrows like underneath it, because it's actually hair, so it's like your skin. It needs to be washed separately and like well done, because you do get like loose skin and things like that in your eyebrows and like eyebrow dandruff. And I always tell clients, make sure you do that. And kind of can't remember the last time I did it. Whoops. That's okay. So that's my brow done. Nice powdered brows. Really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick up my blush. The blush that I really like using is the peach blush from DAC. It is a really nice peachy color. There is the tiniest amount of sheen to it. So this is the blush color just here. You can see that there is a tiny amount of sheen to it, but nothing over the top. No like glittery blushes or anything like that. So I'm just going to pick up my blush brush from DAC and a small amount of powder. I am really enjoying blush. I really like blush at the moment. It's so soft and it's so feminine. And it's just like, oh, I love blushes, and I think I really like blushes in wintertime. I know it sounds silly, but it's not really. Blush in wintertime, because in summertime it's all about highlighter and bronze skin, so use blush in the wintertime. There's method to my madness, trust me. And last but not least on my cheeks is going to be my DAC highlighter. Now this highlighter here is more of your overall face glow, not particularly just like a blinding highlight. It is more of an overall glow, and I say that because I want you to know how gorgeous it is for an overall glow. Don't purchase it if you're not interested in having a really soft glow. If you want that intense highlight, this is not the one for you, but I absolutely love it. I am more about that really nice soft highlight. So I'm just going to, and you can see that, like, come on. And that's one layer. Yeah, see, look, it's nice and soft on the face. It's not massive blinding, but as you can see, like, that glow is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I do like bringing it around a tiny little bit onto my cheeks, just so that when you're front on, you have that really nice glow about it as well. A little bit up here. I can't go too much. Back to keep what I keep saying, I'm oily, so I cannot afford to have too much glow on my face because my natural glow comes through. I'm just going to wipe off this lip balm that I have on because I want to highlight my top lip, but if I do it with lip balm, it's just going to go everywhere and gross. So it's going to highlight my top cupid's bow. Perfect. Awesome. Just down the bridge of my nose, just in the center there, nothing too dramatic and nothing too much there. And I will do under my eyebrows. I've actually changed that up a little bit. I've been using a matte powder, so keep watching. All right, we're going to move on, and I'm just going to do my eyeshadow now. So I'm going to pick up my DAC palette, and anybody who knows me or visited me in studio knows that I bring all the broken and all the samples home with me. So this is what I use in my kit at home. I keep all the good stuff for my clients and at the studio. So I don't know, I think I might need to change that a little bit and start bringing home some good stuff for me. So mine was the smashed one that I smashed, so I took this one home as mine. But there's still a tiny bit of colour in there that I can use, but that's okay. Alright, I'm just going to, I only need a few brushes for this because it's just going to be a really simple, beautiful look. Doesn't have to be anything over the top. I'm not doing lashes, I'm just going to do mascara, even though I probably need lashes because of how bald my natural lashes are. You can see them there. Okay, so I'm going to pick up my crease and contour brush. This brush also is a part of the DAC 15-piece brush set. So that's it just there, and it's beautiful, beautiful and tapered on the end here, nice and soft as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up this very first colour. It's more like a yellowy kind of taupey colour. Maybe not taupey, maybe like really soft brown. So I'm just going to pick that up, and I'm just basically going to just buff that through my crease ever so lightly, only because I would like to use that as a very, very subtle transition colour. So just blending that through. Same shade on the other side. Now I have a very, very hooded eyelids. Long story short, I would love the operation. I'm just chicken to go and get it done. The operation is just they remove some of the skin from your eyelid, but I'm so nervous about it. Like, what happens in like my industry if they leave me with a scar or it puckers, or it just makes me really nervous. Anyway. So I'm just going to keep blending in that transition colour. It's just a very light pale colour. It doesn't have to be anything over the top, just enough to give me a little bit of base for the other shadows to blend over. So I'm just going to work that through, just very, very lightly as well. Doesn't have to be a whole heap. So the next shade I'm going to pick up, I'm probably going to pick up this a little bit deeper in the taupe colour here. So just pick up a small amount of that. Same brush again. The beauty with this look is that you don't need too many brushes. And I'm just going to concentrate that all in my crease again. Very, very similar to where I just placed down that other colour, but just a bit more tighter in the crease. So like I said before, very, very hooded eyes, so it is a little bit different positioning for everybody, but I'm not going to sit here and listen to being told I can't wear glitter, I can't do this, I can't do that because I have really hooded eyes. I'm not listening. So go back in, same shade again on the other side, and you can see I'm starting to build up that little bit of contouring on my eyes, and that's really what you want to do, is just contour the eye sockets just so that your eyes do look a little bit more open. So you just get that colour in there, which is what I'm after. brilliant. Alright, I am going to stick with the same brush again, like I said just then, really simple eye look. And I'm just going to pick up this little mauvey colour. Where are we? Right here, this second one from the end here. This mauvey colour just here, it's brilliant. Absolutely beautiful as well. Lots and lots of pigment in that one. And basically I'm going to just put it back in that same spot again, but I'm going to keep it nice and tight. I'm not going to fluff it out way too high. I'm just going to keep it. I always start on the outside edge as well, so that most of the colour payoff is on that outside edge, and then just lightly buff it into the centre in nice like windscreen wiper motions, keeping it nice and tight. So just go ahead, pick up more of that colour, and I'm going to do the other side. Same deal, most of that colour payoff on the outside edge. And then windscreen wiper motions to move it around. Because we've laid down those colours, it's really quite easy to blend into, because it's almost got somewhere to go as well. It's nice and soft, and also the way that the colours lay down together. I guess if you got really technical about the bonding of the components in the eyeshadow, once you've laid down the shadow, there's always something for it to bond with. So we're just basically putting those colours over the top of each other, but in a little bit of a tighter circle. Oh, sorry, half circle. Perfect. So that shade's done now, and I'm just going to grab this brush. Completely not what you meant to do, but I'm just going to clean off any excess that I might have sitting on there. Not too much, because I pretty much just blended it out anyway, and I'm just very, very lightly going to run over the very top of that. I'm going to try not pick up too much of that darker colour that I just laid down. I just want to blend out that edge at the very, very top. You can use a clean one of these. I just love this brush, so I just very quickly sweep off any excess. Done. Very, very simple, very, very effective. You can leave it like this because it's daytime. You can leave it exactly like this. Because my eyes are hooded, I do like leaving my lid nice and bare, and this is my daytime look. I do just put colours through the crease for my daytime look. I don't worry about smoking out the bottom lash line or anything. I do just like putting that colour through the crease there, purely because it actually makes my eyes look a bit more awake. So the light that is on here, it helps reflect the light, or collect the light, I guess you could say as well, and it gives it that more open look. Now this is something that I've just figured out on my eyes. Everybody's a bit different as well, like I was saying, so you've just got to have to figure out what's what. But yeah, I just like popping a tiny little bit of colour through there. Sometimes I might pop a shimmer all over the lid, but you know what, today I'm pretty happy with those matte colours, so I'm going to leave them at that, and I'm not going to put a shimmer. You can go ahead and pop a shimmer over your lid, totally fine, that's up to you. So from this moment on too, you can add liner, you can add lashes. I'm going to add a tiny little bit of mascara, only because I don't like to draw too much attention with the deep and dark colours on my eyes for like a simple daytime look. So I'm just going to grab my mascara, and for that, this is just my favourite mascara. This isn't a DAC one. This is the Benefit Roller Lash Mascara. I really love it. Now, I'll say it again too. I feel like I'm going to keep repeating myself all over my channel, but that's okay. I truly believe a mascara is the actual wand. Yes, sometimes it's the product that goes with it. There's ones that are really crappy and things like that, but a lot of mascaras just come down to the actual wand that comes with it and what works for your lashes. All of us have very, very different lashes. Some are really thick, some are really thin, coarse, some are soft, straight, curly, same as our normal hair. Some are long, short, what have you. And I'm not really sure, but why do males or children always get those super long lashes? I don't know. So anyway, so I love this one for its spoolie. So the mascara wand that it is, I love it. It's nice and rubber, like a rubbery spoolie, and also to just a little tiny like studs, I guess you could say, are on it. Just comb my lashes really, really beautifully. I really like it. The colour's just enough for me. It's not super, super, super black, but yeah, it's just enough to separate them out. And I could probably go over a second layer. Actually, I think I'm running low on it, so that's why. Right, so my mascara is on the top. I do have a little tiny bit that's flicked off onto my cheek, so I am going to leave that for a moment and then I will get it off in a minute. Really good trick with mascara is if you leave it long enough and let it dry, then it just sort of picks off with a Q-tip or a cotton tip, or I don't know. I've seen people use spoolies, like the tip of a spoolie, and just flick it off, but the trick is wait for it to dry and then remove it. Don't remove it when it's wet or it's just going to smear. The other thing is I said it in my other video that I always leave my tops to fully dry before I go to the bottom. Hooded eyes, if I look up, I'm just going to stamp the top of my eyes and waste all that time that I blended eyeshadow. It's just a habit I've got into. And yeah, I like going with that. So I'm going to do my lips whilst my eyelashes are drying, and I'm going to go ahead, I am in the process of just releasing my lip liners. This isn't a dark lip liner, this is just a cheapy savvy one from Priceline. I am in the process of releasing the lip liners, but they are in the final stages, so that's fine. But I am going to go ahead and use my dark lipstick in the shade Charm. So this is a really, really beautiful colour. So I'm going to go ahead and line my lips first. So I've just gone ahead and lined my lips. I'm just going to go make that top bit a tiny little bit more intense. I have had my lips filled, yes, and I love it, and I've only had it once, and will I be doing it again? Yes. I will be getting a bit more in my bottom, I think, because I think my top is just a tiny bit bigger than what my bottom is, so but yes, I really, and this is hands down one of my favorite shades in the DAC range. This and the shade Tory, which is more like your nice, so there's 3 nude colors. There's like a pink nude, a brown nude, and more like a true nude. So Tory's more like that true nude, and it's definitely a favorite of mine. So I'm going to go back in with my mascara, and I'm very, very quickly just going to do my bottom lashes. I don't concentrate too much on my bottom lashes. I try and keep all the light in here, so I don't go too heavy. And I just got more on my skin. OMG. Ugh. I think that one's nearly had its day too. I've had it for a while, so don't listen to me about when you should throw your products out either, because I don't follow the rules. So oh, cool, all up there. There is still some under this eye here, but yeah. So this here is the completed look for today. So this is a lot of using DAC products that we have available at the moment or that are coming soon, so definitely keep your eye out. And yeah, so this is the completed look. Definitely let my hair down, it looks heaps different. It actually looks really great in this photo, but it's not that great. Yeah, so hit me up any video ideas that you have that you would like me to demonstrate for you. I realized in my last video that I absolutely love doing this. I love makeup. It is only a passion of mine that I did find 2 years ago, and I'll go more into that story at another time and another day about how I got into makeup, why I do makeup, and my purpose. So I very strongly believe I have a purpose, and this is it. So I can't wait to show you more videos. I really hope you liked this one. If you did, don't forget, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. And also the other thing too is you do need to subscribe so you can stay up to date when all my new videos are released. But this is the completed look. I'm really happy with it. I really love this. I wear this a lot. yeah, so this is it. Don't forget, leave a comment down below as well, and I will be able to answer to that as well, and any video suggestions that you think we should use, that you'd like me to see do. The other thing too is all different brands as well, so I'm not just going to concentrate on DAC, my own brand. I'm going to do all the other brands as well, so leave it below, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. So have a great afternoon. Thank you. Bye.